Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. So a little while ago I was making some videos about the stuff that's on my TBR and some stats about that, so I thought I'd carry on that series. I meant to make a few more at the time and didn't get around to it. So the next one I wanted to talk about was the most popular books on my Goodreads TBR. I'm defining this as the books with the most number of ratings that I own but haven't read yet. I have narrowed it down to 10 on the list, and these all have over 500,000 ratings on Goodreads. I was surprised by a few of them. Some of them aren't surprising. About half of them are what I would consider classic literature. The other half are a mix of YA, contemporary and various other things. But yeah, as I say, a few of them took me by surprise, but most of them I kind of understand why they're there. The YA books are ones that are really hyped, and the contemporaries as well, some of them. Without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. So I'm going to tell you the book and the author, the number of ratings it has and its average rating, and maybe a bit about the book if I know too much about it. So here we go. In 10th place with 597,284 ratings, we have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Can you see that there? This is the single volume edition I have of it, which I bought in Hay on Wye earlier in the year. I do also have it in an omnibus edition with another book. In my recent haul you would have seen that I picked up the complete works of Dickens, but I've decided to keep the single volume edition of this one as well, just because it's a little bit easier to read in the single volume. And this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. I haven't got around to it yet. It's got an average rating of 3.77 stars on Goodreads, which is an okay rating. I'd say most books on Goodreads probably fall between 3.5 and 4.5 stars, so that's a fairly good rating really, and it's one of Dickens's most famous works. I can't remember if I've ever seen adaptations of it actually. I have some idea of the story. It's about Pip, who I think is an orphan, but I'm not entirely sure. And I know it's the story that features Miss Havisham, who's the lady that was left at the altar and has stayed in her wedding dress ever since. I know it's a very popular Dickens book, and it is one that I want to get to soon. If I do Dickens in December, this is one of the ones that I would pick. And I love this edition. It's a really pretty edition. So that's that one. That's in 10th place. In 9th place with 599,928 ratings, we have Cinder by Marissa Meyer. So this is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, which are science fiction retellings of fairy tales. The first one being based on Cinderella, but Cinder is a cyborg. I'm really keen to read this series, and a particular book was gifted to me last year from someone on Twitter as part of Bookish Wish, and I was intending to read it really quickly. I haven't quite got around to it yet, but I'm really keen to. I have recently read Renegades by Marissa Meyer and I really enjoyed it. So I know I like her writing style, and I am really keen to get onto this series, but because I only own the first one, I've sort of been putting it off because it will require me to buy more books. I've been reading series that I can get from the library in advance of having to buy ones, but it is a series that I want to get to soon, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before I start on this series. It kind of feels like a good wintry book. I don't know why. I think because one of the other books in the series is called Winter, so I might try and read this one this year as well. Who knows? There's not a lot of the year left to read them in. In 8th place with 690,702 ratings, we have The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. So this also featured on the highest rated books on my Goodreads TBR, I believe. This one, the main reason I haven't got to it is because it is very fat. It has a heck of a lot of pages. And maybe it was also the longest books on my TBR. Not the highest rated ones. Anyway, I can't remember. It's got an average rating of 4.24 stars, which again is a really strong rating. And I know a number of people who have told me that this is their all-time favourite book. So it is one I really do want to read, but it's just so long that it's a bit intimidating. It's probably one of the most intimidating books on my TBR as well. So who knows when I'll get to this one, but fairly certain I'll enjoy it when I do get to it. But I'm gonna have to put it down now because it's really heavy. I've no idea really what it's about. Oh, it's a thriller, a tale of obsession and revenge. So yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it, and hopefully we'll get to it before too long. In 7th place, with her second appearance on the list, with 756,607 ratings, we have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Again, I don't know very much about this one. This is another one where I've got this cute little pocket book edition, single volume edition, but I also have it in an omnibus edition in my complete works now. Don't know a lot about it. It's not one that's been adapted very much, like Great Expectations has been adapted a few times. A Tale of Two Cities, I don't think I've come across any adaptations of it, but I might try and read this one quite soon actually, because this edition only has just under 400 pages, so it might not take as long to read as Great Expectations is a bit longer. Now that I have the complete work of Dickens, I'm really going to make it my goal in the next couple of years to try and read through all of his works. I don't know how soon I'll get through them all. There's 16 books in the complete works and I have already read a couple of them in the past, so yeah, in the next couple of years hopefully you'll see me work my way through all of Dickens's works, as I really do enjoy his writing. He's occasionally a little bit preachy, but he was one of the most popular novelists of his time for a reason. So I'm really keen to get through more of his books, and this one is fairly high up the list. The average rating of A Tale of Two Cities is 3.83, so slightly higher than Great Expectations. But then it's got a few more, about 150,000 more ratings, so that probably has helped its average go up. In 6th place, with 799,025 ratings, we have probably the most intimidating book on my TBR actually, which is The Odyssey by Homer. This is a fairly recent translation by Robert Fagles. This is classic Greek mythology, and I also have the Iliad as well, again in a very similar edition translated by Robert Fagles. I got them both in a jumble sale a couple of years ago. I'm just a bit intimidated to get started on them because again they're massive books, and yeah, I don't know a lot about them. I know some of the stories from Greek mythology. This actually looks like it's quite an accessible edition to read them in. So yeah, maybe I'll try and get to them soon, who knows. The average rating of The Odyssey is 3.75, so again fairly average, pretty good for Goodreads. People that have read The Odyssey and the Iliad have told me that I should just get on with them. I'm not sure which you're meant to read first, so I will have to check that before I start on them, but yeah, I will get around to them at some point, I'm sure. Okay, a completely different end of the spectrum. In 5th place, with 847,142 ratings, we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This one I think probably got boosted by it being made into a film a few years ago, but actually this is a series that has been quite popular on BookTube. That's the main reason I picked it up. I found it in a charity sale a couple of years ago, last summer actually I think, because I'd heard people talking about it on BookTube, and I'd been sort of intrigued when the film came out. I kind of planned to try and pick them up then and hadn't quite got round to it. So this has an average rating of 3.91 stars, and it's a series that I hear a lot of people talking about on BookTube, and it looks like a really interesting format. I love the way the photographs are interspersed with the text, so I don't think this would be a very long read actually. I think it'd be quite a quick read, so I might bump up the TBR and get to it a little bit sooner than I planned to. In 4th place, we've now hit the books that have over 1 million ratings. So with 1,029,449 ratings, we have 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. He is best known for writing The Kite Runner, which I read quite a few years ago and really loved, so I've been meaning to read more of his books ever since and have clearly just never got around to it. So this one's been on my TBR for a really long time. You can see I got it cheap at a supermarket and I've been meaning to read it but have not got around to it. So this is another book set in Afghanistan, I think, and about a family and how they cope with the Taliban. According to the people that have blurbed it, it's better than The Kite Runner. I really loved The Kite Runner, and this is another one that I've been meaning to get to. This has got an average rating of 4.36 stars, so that's really good to have anything over than 4 stars average rating on Goodreads, particularly with so many ratings. That's really impressive. Another one that I really need to try and get to soon, clearly. And now to the top 3 with 1,833,537 ratings. In 3rd place, on the top 10 most popular books on my Goodreads TBR, we have The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This has been made into a stage musical, which is something that I do want to see at some point. But I've been wanting to read the book for a really long time. This was recommended when I did my teacher training, actually, which was a while ago now, as an insight into Asperger syndrome. And I do work quite a lot with young people on the autism spectrum. Some people on the spectrum have praised this book and others have said it's not a great representation, but that kind of makes sense because the autism spectrum is such a vast spectrum that pretty much everyone on the spectrum has a very different experience of what it means to be autistic. So I'm really interested to see about this author's interpretation of it. I don't think it's own voices. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what I think of the representation of Asperger syndrome in this, having worked with a lot of people with that neurodivergence. So we'll see what I think of it when I get around to it, which who knows when that will be. And The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime has an average rating of 3.87, so really intrigued to see what I think about this when I get to it, because that's a fairly average rating for Goodreads. With a bit of a jump to second place with 1,622,221 ratings, we have The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is one that I have had again for a really, really long time, and I hear so many good things about it, and I really have been meaning to read it for ages. It just keeps getting put back on the shelf. So it's one that, I've been meaning to get to for a while because I hear so many good things about it, and I just haven't ever quite got around to it yet. And he's got more books out now, hasn't he, as well, Marcus Zusak? Yeah, so I'll have to get to it at some point. This has an average rating of 4.37 stars, which of all the books on this list, this has the highest Goodreads rating. I know a lot of people on BookTube really love it, and you're going to be screaming at your screens when you hear me say that I haven't read it yet. Of all of them, this is probably the one that I most want to read, but it's just finding time to get around to it, and I don't really know how I can manage to get to it more quickly, but we will see. I'm sure I'll get there someday. So finally, in first place, and this is a massive jump, this has double the amount of ratings of the next book on the list. So with 3,364,783 ratings, in first place we have The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is my lovely copy I got from Haddon with this lovely Art Deco cover. This has an average rating of 3.91 stars. It is a really popular book, a really loved book, and one that I've been meaning to read for a really, really long time. I also have the DVD of the recent film adaptation, which I haven't let myself watch yet because I need to read the book first. This is one that I actually really do want to get to this year. I don't know if I will now or not. I don't know what else to say about it, really. I'm really sure that I will enjoy it when I do get around to it, and I do want to read more. I want to collect more of F. Scott Fitzgerald's works. Hopefully can try and find them in this nice edition as well. But yeah, this is another one that I really do want to get to as soon as I can, which who knows how soon that will be because my TBR is ridiculous. So that's the top 10 most popular books on my Goodreads TBR. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think of them, and if you think I should bump them up to read them sooner. With so many books on my TBR, it's actually really, really difficult to choose what to read next, which is why I've been enjoying doing some readathons recently, because it helps me to narrow down my selection, really. So let me know what you thought of any of these books, or if there's any that you think I can skip or get rid of, but they're so popular that it really intrigues me and really makes me want to try and read them sooner. So yeah, let me know what you thought of any of those. Have a chat to me down in the comments about that. What are some of the most popular books on your TBR? Did any on this list surprise you? Some of them surprised me a little bit. Yeah, you can also follow me on my social media. That information is in the description box below. Please like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe if you haven't already. It really does encourage me to see people wanting to support my channel and be part of my little BookTube family. That's everything for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.